Chuk initially struggled to believe the bizarre reports he received about a giant lizard-like creature terrorizing a small village. It seemed impossible, yet when he saw it for himself, all doubts vanished. The creature was real and it was dangerous. Chuk quickly realized he needed a plan, but he still had no idea what he was dealing with. Having managed to tranquilize the creature, Chuk waited for the drug to take effect. It didn't take long before the lizard-like animal started to slow down. Once it came to a halt, Chuk and the villagers quickly tied it up and loaded it onto his truck. It was only then, as they got a closer look, that they realized just how extraordinary the creature truly was. Chuk had hoped this was all a joke or a case of mistaken identity. At first, the description reminded him of a crocodile, but the location of the village made that impossible. The terrain was far too dry for crocodiles to survive. As more villagers called for help, Chuk began to wonder if maybe he had been wrong to dismiss it. Usually, he dealt with snakes and pests, but a gigantic lizard was beyond anything he had encountered. When Chuk finally reached the remote village, he was greeted with surprising enthusiasm. The villagers were terrified. The creature had been appearing almost every night, taking livestock, including goats, and had become a consistent menace. Chuk listened carefully to their accounts, and although he still had doubts, the situation seemed far too serious to ignore. The villagers had taken some photos of the creature, but they were grainy and taken from a distance. Still, as Chuk examined the pictures, he saw something crucial. A tire in the corner of one image gave him a sense of the creature's size. It was massive, far larger than any ordinary lizard. Chuk's initial plan was to capture the creature alive for study, but it was clear that would be impossible. It was too large and too dangerous. His next step was to sedate it with tranquilizers. However, there was a problem. He didn't have enough tranquilizers, and he had no idea what formula would be effective for such a huge animal. Chuk called up some colleagues in wildlife rescue and gathered the necessary equipment, hoping for the best. The villagers worked with Chuk to funnel the creature toward an area where they could set a trap. With everything in place, they waited. Then, in the still of the night, the creature appeared, sneaking into the village with a goat in its jaws. It was huge, with scaly skin and a long, sinuous tail. Chuk knew the only chance they had was to use the tranquilizers, but the first dart didn't have the desired effect. The creature remained unfazed and continued its hunt. Chuk realized that a second dart might be risky, but he had no choice. As the creature grew agitated, Chuk fired again. This time, the dart hit its mark, and the creature's movements slowly became sluggish. Finally, after a tense wait, the giant creature slumped to the ground, subdued. The villagers quickly secured it, ensuring it posed no further threat. As dawn broke, scientists arrived to begin their examination. They were excited, taking measurements and collecting data on the creature's unique anatomy. Dr. Elise Mitchell, a biologist, led the team. She was fascinated by the creature's genetic makeup. As they analyzed tissue samples, they discovered something remarkable. The creature was a hybrid, a mix of a crocodile and a giant salamander. This finding shocked the scientific community and made the creature even more extraordinary than anyone had imagined. The discovery caused a stir, with scientists, journalists, and tourists flocking to the village. The once quiet place had transformed into a hub of scientific and public interest. Debates about conservation, ethics, and mankind's interference with nature grew louder as the village tried to adapt to its newfound fame. In the months that followed, the creature was carefully moved to a research facility, where scientists continued their studies. Over time, it became acclimated to its new surroundings, showing curiosity and adapting to its environment. This creature, once a terror to the village, became a symbol of nature's mysteries. It reminded everyone of the importance of respecting the natural world and the delicate balance between mankind and nature. As the village faced the challenges of modernity, it also stood as a beacon of hope, a reminder of the wonders that nature still has to offer. With careful stewardship, both humans and nature could thrive in harmony.